Okay, so the next topic video I want to talk about is this whole perfect parry thing. So I'm hearing a lot of people talk about that they're not liking that when you perfect parry, you get 50% scaling. A lot of people feel like, you know, you don't get rewarded enough for it considering how hard it is. You have to parry within the first 2 frames, which is insane, and you get no damage from it. So what's the deal? So I really thought about this, and I think Capcom has too. And there's something in particular I want to mention about perfect parry that I'm not seeing a lot of players doing yet, obviously, because the game's not even out yet. It has to do with the risk and reward and how minus buttons are in this game. So first, let me show you an example of perfect parry and scaling. 2 frames is tough, even if it's telegraphed. You know, you do this big combo and you're like, what's going on, Capcom? Why am I not getting rewarded for this? You know, perfect parry and a drive impact, you'd have to be crazy to do something like that. So the second part to this is the minus normals. In Street Fighter 6, almost all buttons on block, the buttons that you'd expect to be plus are all minus. So Ryu, standing light punch, -1, -1, standing medium punch, -1, crouching medium punch is 0, right? They're minus. So that means a lot of the block string pressure in Street Fighter 6 is like fake. At any time I'm doing my block string, like medium, this starts up in 6. So to do 2 mediums, there's a 7 frame gap here. The opponent can just mash jab in between all of this stuff. Even doing your chains, like chaining 2 lights, like this, there's a gap in between because it's -1 and it doesn't cause enough block stun. Capcom do this on purpose. So we're kind of in a pickle here where, okay, let's say that I'm someone doing a block string, okay? And I do 1 standing medium punch, or I do 1 crouching light punch, for example. How do I stop the opponent from taking his turn back? Like, what's the meta here? Is the opponent always just gonna get the mash on block string? Well, that's where perfect parry comes in. So normally, let's say you do drive impact, right? Drive impact's way too slow. It's too slow and the opponent can just drive impact you back. That's because he's mashing jab and it's cancelable, right? So perfect parry is the only other thing you can do because the parry starts up in 1 frame too. So let's set Ryu to mash jab after blocking a move. So now Ryu's always gonna mash jab, right? Now this Ryu player understands that everything's minus in this game. So if I press medium, he's always gonna blow me up, right? So one thing I can do is chain my lights, and we'll get into that later, how to counter that. But it's not like Street Fighter 5 where you go medium, walk forward, medium over and over again, and like, you can't even tick throw. You know, throws start up in 5, so because my crouching jab is -1, I can't even tick throw him. He'll jab me every time. You know, it's kind of like that Mortal Kombat down 1 situation that they used to have. Where there was a weird meta behind that. So what you can do is perfect parry, like I said. So you can go like this and try to perfect parry it. Now, when you perfect parry in this game, it's not exactly like Street Fighter 3. In this game, it freezes everything except for you. You know, it's like bullet time. So when you perfect parry, you can punish with anything almost. The opponent is completely frozen. So I can go crouching fierce, and it's a punish counter. From a light punch, he just mashed jab. If I get hit, I mean, I take a light punch, big deal. If I mistime my parry, I push him out, and I gain drive gauge back, right? So the risk is low going for this perfect parry. It's very low. And the reward is very high if I get it. And I can do, you know, a full combo, you know, from it, for example. So I think Capcom thought about this, and this is how they want a lot of perfect parry to be used, and this is how you counter the meta of everything being minus, and this is what's going to start the mind games. So the counter to this now is if Mr. Ryu over here knows that I'm going to try to perfect parry after I try to take my turn back, he can throw me, and if he throws me, I take double damage from the throw. So, and it goes back and forth. If I know he's gonna go for a throw, then I can go for another normal and blow him up, and then it goes on, right? That's Street Fighter. So another cool thing is the chains. So if the opponent is trying to chain me, so a lot of people are gonna start doing more lights in this game. They're gonna go jab jab. You see, because it's a chain, I blow up the other Ryu for mashing jab. So I go like this, right? And I can get combos from this. Now, to counter the chains, it's the exact same thing. You use Perfect Parry. So even though chains are tight enough where they blow up mashing jab, there's still a gap in there. There's still a gap. You can Perfect Parry it. Because parry starts up in 1 frame, you can Perfect Parry it. And once again, even though he's doing a jab, I can punish him with anything because he's frozen. So I want you guys to consider this, because when we're thinking, you know, Perfect Parry and the 50% scaling, we can't look at it in a vacuum. We have to look at it from a different perspective, because Street Fighter 6 is a very different game than Street Fighter 5, and the way block strings and pressure works is very, very different. So I guess my final thoughts on this is that parry is pretty low risk for what it does, but it still has a counter with throws. I think it helps the meta. Perfect Parry will be, you know, eventually after it's out, the game's out for, you know, a year or two, people will start recognizing patterns and you can Perfect Parry things that are really telegraphed. But since you can get your Perfect Parry off timing and then still parry, I think Capcom's just really careful on making sure the reward isn't too good for low risk. I guess that's my thoughts on that. So I guess let me know what you guys think about Perfect Parry and the damage scaling, if you guys think it's okay after you've watched this, and what do you guys think about the block strings as well, and everything being minus on block. And that's it.